Today's film is Claude, The Legend of Sasquatch from 2005. The movie's main claim to fame is that it was actually rumored that this Bigfoot trail cam photo that surfaced back in 2012 actually just shows the suit used in the film, a claim which the film's director has denied. Before I get into the content of the film, spoiler warning. The movie's premise is that 3 of the 4 members of a group of poachers in the woods are killed by a Bigfoot, but their deaths are blamed on a bear. Later that weekend, a group of high school seniors have to go camping in those same woods over spring break as part of a biology assignment. I mean, what school doesn't force its students to spend a week in the woods with a killer bear as a graduation requirement? As I'm sure you've guessed by now, this is for the most part just a pretty standard cryptid creature feature B-movie. The teens go into the woods to go camping, the surviving poacher and his second trio of poacher friends that he apparently has go back into the woods to kill the bear. The police go into the woods, and eventually everyone crosses paths with each other and Bigfoot. Meanwhile, the mayor tries to stop the story of a killer bear from spreading out of control, since next week is the start of tourist season. Wonder how the writers thought of that idea. And a bit of a surprising twist, the Bigfoot in this movie isn't the villain, and actually lets all the camping teenagers live when he comes across them. Now, this flick gets classified as a horror movie, but I'm not sure that it can even really be called that. I'm not saying that it tries and fails to be scary as a knock on it. It just doesn't even really seem to try. Beyond one scene at the very end, the Sasquatch never scares anyone besides the poachers, and the movie's villain is this guy. Let me tell you about this guy. His name is Ed, and he's the platonic ideal of every goofy, exaggerated, one-dimensional redneck villain trope you can imagine, without any pesky redeeming qualities. Here's my biggest problem with Ed. Throughout the movie, the main character, a nerdy kid named Richard, mentions his father and their poor relationship. His parents are divorced, and Richard's mom says that Richard has been refusing to see his dad ever since. All signs point towards there being a twist where Ed is Richard's father. When they finally come face to face at the end, nope, this is their first time ever meeting. All that talk about Richard's dad, it was pointless. Guess they had to fill out that monstrous 80-minute runtime somehow. I mean, I get that sometimes movies will have red herrings in them, but genuinely, what was the point of that whole aspect of Richard's character? I really have to wonder if it was originally the writer's intention to connect the 2 characters in this way, but they dropped it last minute without going back and changing the dialogue, foreshadowing the twist, because otherwise, it really just makes zero sense. Despite the film's title, Sasquatch barely interacts with our 4 main teens. He kills 6 of the 7 poachers, but Richard is the one to take out Ed by shooting him off screen. The only time the teens see the creature is at the very end, right after Ed is shot. Ed does survive. I guess they either didn't want to have their main character be a murderer, or they wanted to keep the door open for when all the Ed fans demanded the spin-off movie, Poached, The Legend of Ed. What happens when they come face-to-face with Bigfoot? Well, they record a video, and that's it. Nothing else. The ending shows a news broadcast where the legitimate Bigfoot footage is derided as fake, so at least that part is pretty realistic. For a movie with Sasquatch in the title, the film's plot ends up having very little to do with the American ape man, with the majority of the movie focusing on the teenagers that occasionally discuss Bigfoot, and the actual hunt for the creature, or in the minds of the hunters a bear, being this flick's B-plot. Look, when I decided to watch a direct-to-video Sasquatch B-movie from 20 years ago, I wasn't expecting a masterpiece, but this one is a slog to get through. I think the film would have worked okay, actually, as an episode of some type of anthology show that focuses on horror or speculative fiction with a 22-minute or 45-minute runtime, with some of the more egregious filler that talks about Richard's dad, the scene of the poachers eating dinner, the town meeting that happens for some reason being cut out, and other scenes being shortened. The twist where humans are the real monsters would definitely fit something like The Twilight Zone or a similar series. As an 80-minute movie, it's a serious drag, and for that reason, gets 2 Bigfoot tracks out of 5.